Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program. We go live here in just a moment to New South Wales, where New South Wales Police in Australia will be updating us on the Bondi Beach shooting and what's followed since then. Unexpected breaking news here from Australia, where it is tomorrow already in Sydney. It's 1:15 in the afternoon. Here it is still Monday evening at 21:15. So very shortly we'll go. They've just turned on some audio, so we're expecting this to happen. The New South Wales Police will be updating us in this horrific situation, this anti-Semitic attack. And here they come, officials out onto the area right now. So let me go to that live. Here they come.
Come around the other side.
A lot of women.
Okay, appreciate you all being here. I'm joined, of course, with the Prime Minister, Commissioner Lanyon, Commissioner Barrett, the Minister for Mental Health, Rose Jackson, the Chief Psychiatrist, and the Minister for Police. Obviously, we'll give an update on the latest in relation to the investigation and related matters. I want to make it clear, after speaking with the Prime Minister and the National Cabinet, as well as the New South Wales Cabinet, that our response to this horrifying tragedy must be comprehensive and has begun already. Our approach to this terrible crime in New South Wales is multifaceted, but I want to make it clear that our efforts to firstly work with the New South Wales Police on counter-terrorism efforts continue. Secondly, fighting anti-Semitism in our community, which will not be done in a week or a month, but it's a long-term important project for the Government of New South Wales, working with civic leaders and the people of this state. Thirdly, gun law reform in New South Wales.
Gun law reform, of course.
Legislation brought into the New South Wales Parliament to make gun laws tougher in the state. I'm determined to bring in the toughest gun laws in Australia, and they'll be significantly tightened.
How about you get cops that are responsive?
And lastly, and importantly, and this has been reflected from civic leaders, community leaders across this state, bringing New South Wales together as a time of healing. I saw on the news...
This guy's a putz.
Some of the rabbis who gave some incredible
Shut up,
heartfelt messages to the New South Wales community about coming together, showing love to one another.
I'll sit around watching people be murdered for 10 minutes because they didn't have guns to shoot back.
Incredibly important messages right now in New South Wales.
Yep, their feed is not very good.
Messages that we all need to hear. I'm very grateful for their intervention.
Their feed is very poor. Wow. That's the police force's feed. Let's see if I can't find it somewhere else. Wow, that's unbelievable. It's not my feed that's the problem, is it? Let me double check, make sure I'm good. Or is it me too? No, it's them. It's not me. So my feed is fine for the moment. Let me just get rid of this very quickly. Wow, that's
screwed up. I want to speak a little bit about blood donations too. I'm very happy to report that there has been 50,000 appointments to give blood in New South Wales.
Jeez, give me a break. That's what they're
South Wales, which I understand is a 5-fold increase. Say to the people of New South Wales, don't give up. If you haven't got an appointment, if you can't get in immediately, we require your blood. Be a blood donor in New South Wales. To put this in perspective, for somebody in trauma, they may need 100 individual donations to save their life. So this is an urgent priority. Don't give up if you're at the end of the line, Judy. I'm also report that small business help will be forthcoming in the next 24 hours, or will announce a program in the next 24 hours for small businesses in the Bondi area. We know there's huge disruption associated with this huge police investigation. There's been an impact on the local community, and part of our job after this investigation moves on is to ensure that we lift back up the Bondi community and we give people a place to come together and to return to a semblance of normal life. I want to make it clear, none of the shopkeepers, none of them have complained about this at all, but we want to have their back as they open their doors in the coming days. There's the second day of Hanukkah. It's been a tragic event for the Jewish community of New South Wales and Australia, but we're determined to meet it head on with a program and a set of reforms to ensure that we do everything.
This guy's a putz.
To ensure that it's not repeated. I'm going to pass over to the Prime Minister and then Commissioner Lanyon.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. My message to
Another putz.
Australians is that we stand with you as a nation.
Oh, shut up.
You at what is a terrible time. These anti-Semitic terrorist attacks
That you fostered.
will not be successful with their objective, which is to divide us as a nation. We will continue to come together as a nation and to embrace each other. Earlier today, I met with Australian hero Ahmed and his family.
Can't even say his name.
Mum and Dad, who are visiting him here, as well as other relatives at St George Hospital. I thanked him for the lives that he helped to save, and I wished him all the very best with his surgery that he will undertake tomorrow, and I was able to also thank the health professionals, the doctors, nurses and staff at St George Hospital for providing support for him.
This frickin' sign language is annoying.
Tragedy will have, of course, an immediate and lasting impact on many Australians, but the Jewish community here in Sydney and nationally, first responders and people in Bondi and Sydney, the impact will be particularly acute. The Australian government has made significant investments in mental health support, including expanding headspace and the creation of Medicare mental health centres. And I encourage all Australians affected by this tragedy to consider accessing the mental health support, including through Beyond Blue on 1300 224636, Lifeline on 131114, Kids Helpline on 1800 551 800. Headspace for children and young people and Medicare and health centres are of course available to support.
This is the Prime Minister.
This tragedy. Yesterday I convened National Cabinet, where National Cabinet again spoke about the scourge of anti-Semitism and the commitment
Which you fostered.
We also agreed that Premier Minns and Premier Cook, as the incoming chair of the Council of Australian Federation, would work together to strengthen Australia's gun laws. The very nature of our gun laws means that they are only as strong as the weakest link, which is why we want to make sure that they follow Premier Minns' lead.
Your fascist government's the weakest link.
Strengthening the gun laws that were, of course, created in the wake of the Port Arthur tragedy some 30 years ago. Give credit to the Howard government of that time.
They were also fascists.
The nature in which it was adopted. The consideration that will take place includes limiting the number of guns an individual can own, the type of guns that are legal, whether gun ownership should require Australian citizenship, and accelerating work on the National Firearms Register. This is an agreement that we reached through the National Cabinet at the end of 2023. We've provided over 160.
Guess it didn't come soon enough, did it there, Albanese?
In that is over $100 million to states and territories.
Why don't you tell us what the hell happened? We don't care about your fascism. Get the cops up there. Tell us why they were so dicked up. The idiotic response, no SWAT teams.
Makes it impossible to check across boundaries in a quick and efficient manner. And,
What a putz.
the digitalisation that is required,
You're going to drive me to Starbucks.
to accelerate that. We will continue to engage, and this afternoon I'll have further meetings, another meeting of the National Security Committee, further meetings this afternoon. My government is absolutely committed to working with New South Wales as well.
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for conservatives.
Screw JT.
Organisations at this time. I'll call upon the Commissioner Barrett to make some comments before we go to questions. Commissioner Lanning first.
Thanks, Prime Minister. I'll start first. Just like to give an update. Our two parallel investigations are ongoing. We have a critical incident investigation which investigates the role of police in the matter, and certainly in terms of the death of the 50-year-old male and the injury of the 24-year-old male. Whilst that's continuing, we have a joint counter-terrorism operation running at the same time, and I welcome my fellow Commissioner, Commissioner Barrett, here from the AFP to talk about that this morning. There is still a crime scene in place in Campbell Parade and down around Bondi Beach. I anticipate that will stay in place until tomorrow afternoon, where it will be released to the public. We continue with forensic and ballistic examinations. I've made it really clear in previous conferences that this will be a thorough investigation.
Right.
I apologise for the disruptions to pedestrians and traffic while that crime scene was in place, but I'm sure all of the community understands the importance of investigating this abhorrent matter. The Community Reception Centre has been open and activated at the Intercontinental Hotel at Coogee.
Ooh.
That will provide health support to people who require mental health support, but also allows us to speak to those who are witnesses to this incident and treat them sensitively. The Public Information and Inquiry Centre is operating. That number is 1800 227 228. It's been really important to give our investigators in the Joint Counter-Terrorism space time to investigate this matter before releasing too much information. There has been reports in the news about our two offenders travelling to the Philippines last month. I can confirm that they did travel to the Philippines. The reasons why they went to the Philippines and the purpose of that, and where they went when they were there,
So tell us.
is under investigation.
Oh.
I also confirmed that the vehicle, which was registered to the younger male, contained IEDs,
Oh.
but I also confirmed that it contained 2 homemade licence flags.
Oh, Jesus.
We continue to work through the motive of this tragedy, and we'll continue.
Seems pretty evident, doesn't it?
It's really important that our investigators continue to be given time to do that. This is a very complex investigation, and important that we do it thoroughly. Operation Shelter ramped up yesterday. We have static patrols or static guards at a range of locations around the eastern suburbs, particularly Jewish places of worship and other important locations.
Christian too, dumbass. It's coming for Christians
We have
next.
mobile patrols. And I want to make it very clear to the Jewish community, as we did to their leaders yesterday, that the New South Wales Police stands right beside you.
While they stare at the synagogues, they'll attack Christians.
I want the community to feel safe and be able to go around their way of life.
With you idiots, we don't feel
New
safe.
South Wales Police will maintain a significant response in Operation Shelter to ensure that the community can go about their normal way of life. I would like to correct a record. I have been indicating that Sajid Akram, the 50-year-old male, has held a firearms licence since 2015. Mr Akram applied for that licence on the 8th of October 2015, and it was recommended that it be issued in November 2015. I'm advised that he did not get a photo taken as required by that licence. The application lapsed in 2006.
So he wasn't a licensed firearm owner, you liars.
Second category A/B licence was applied for by Mr.
Okay.
Akram in 2020. That licence was recommended for issue and issued in 2023.
After he didn't show up for the first
I
one.
think it's important that the transparent nature of the investigation provides that change.
Let's start
The
telling me
initial
you're
information had been that it had been issued in 2015, and I think it's important to give that detail. He was licensed to hold a Category AB licence, and the firearms that we have seized were attached to that licence appropriately. I'll hand over now to Commissioner Barrett, but happy to take some questions later.
What a putz. Let's see. Here we go. DEI time.
Good afternoon. Last night with Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke, I had the chance to lay a wreath at Bondi Beach.
Oh, thank God for that.
From an overseas work matter. Between the time of this attack and until I landed back in Australia, I have had regular contact with the Prime Minister, with Minister Burke, with New South Wales Police Commissioner Lanyon, and with the AFP's Counter-Terrorism and Special Investigations Command, as well as senior Jewish leaders. These are my first public comments on the terrorist attack since I have returned to Australia. And I want to describe this attack in my own words so there is no confusion and no ambiguity about
Okay.
AFP's position.
So tell us.
This was a barbaric attack against Jewish Australians. On Sunday, Jewish Australians were hunted down in broad daylight at an iconic Australian beach.
Where your Keystone Cops were helpless.
Suspected murderers, callous in how they allegedly coordinated their attack, appear to have had no regard for the age or ableness of their victims. It appears the alleged killers were interested only in a quest for a death tally. Like October 7, 2023, we will not forget how that shocking attack forced Jews around the world to relive modern
Albanese forgot.
that should have been consigned to the history books decades ago. In Australia, the AFP will never forget the date of December 14 and what it means for a community that deserves to live in peace and harmony. It is understandable and right that the community wants answers, and it is appropriate that the AFP and New South Wales Police provide this information, not only to provide answers to a community that is in shock and grieving, but also to protect how we live together safely in multicultural Australia.
Ah, here we go, multicultural.
Misinformation could fuel retribution-type incidents. Because of these factors, we will provide information that does not impact on our investigation, noting that one alleged offender remains in hospital and is facing significant charges. Early indications point to a terrorist attack inspired by Islamic State, allegedly committed by a father and son. There is no evidence to suggest other individuals were involved in this attack. However, we caution that this could change given it is early in our investigation. Alleged evidence has provided investigators with a swathe of information that has enabled them to make this initial assessment about the alleged individuals involved and their motivations. These are the alleged actions of those who have aligned themselves with a terrorist organisation, not a religion. The New South Wales Joint Counter-Terrorism Team, which includes the AFP, New South Wales Police, ASIO, and the New South Wales Crime Commission, is continuing to review the significant material seized during search warrants, and we will not provide further details of that material today for obvious reasons. The AFP and New South Wales Police have a responsibility to keep the community safe. And I want to thank Commissioner Lanyon for his steel-like leadership during this time, and also acknowledge the brave men and women of New South Wales Police.
You coward.
Who showed courage, amazing
Behind cars. Oh, bullshit. We saw the video, sweetheart. Spare me.
Now we understand words and information are important for context and for comfort. However, we are very much focused on action, including conducting a thorough investigation. This investigation will be highly visible, precise, and it will operate around the clock.
Bullshit. You just told us you're not going to tell us anything.
The counter-terrorism team investigation will leverage all unique powers, capabilities, and international networks.
She just told us she's not going to tell us anything.
Did the Afghans carry out their militant training in the Philippines, and when did Australian authorities first have intelligence about that training?
I think we've been fairly clear that the reason that the Afghans travelled to the Philippines, where they went, is unknown at this stage and is subject to the investigation.
So they're no fuck all.
Their associates had prior knowledge of the attack.
Sorry, can you
Do you
just
believe that any of their associates had prior knowledge of the attack?
That's obviously part of the investigation. We've been fairly clear that we believe there were 2 people involved in this cowardly attack. We continue to investigate the matter thoroughly to determine if there is anyone else involved.
Did the Philippines trigger any security alert in Australia, and if not, was that an intelligence failure?
Not that I'm aware of, and I don't believe it was an intelligence failure at all. We're talking about something that's retrospective, post what is a horrific crime. We've indicated this will be a thorough investigation.
We don't believe you.
New South Wales Police and the AFP are committed to that. We are finding information post the event.
But given the Afghan's long-standing ties to extremists in Australia, why did his father receive a firearms licence?
Yep.
And why were they allowed to travel overseas?
Yep.
The issue of the firearms licence is something that I've addressed previously and something that is subject to an investigation. The Firearms Act has certain requirements. Mr. Akram was entitled to make an application. The information that was available at the time was used to assess that information, and a licence was issued.
Commissioner, on my survivor, Schmulek Story told the 7 Network this morning he saw 4 police officers at the scene in Bondi, none of them fired a weapon, and he was saying he didn't understand why he's an Israeli national. To Mr. Story, what do you say to him that the police didn't do their job and fire back at that gunman?
Yep, exactly.
I can't comment in relation to that actual report. What I'll say is that I'm incredibly proud of our police officers. They were confronted by 2 men armed with long arms. Our police at the scene were armed with pistols.
Could I, regarding the timeline of that, can you just outline when did the first
What a crock. We saw the video, hiding behind cars, afraid to shoot female officers.
It's obviously part of the investigation. I've been really clear, both the critical incident investigation and the JCTT investigation.
Heads need to roll.
We haven't heard from Commissioner Barrett before about how would you describe the adequacy of police presence at Bondi, and can you and Commissioner Lanyon explain why local area command was considered sufficient security for that event? Commissioner Lanyon, you just observed that they only had pistols. Is that all that they had, or why were there not more police resources there? This is a police force that has access to Bearcat armoured vehicles. For
Yep,
instance.
exactly. Where was SWAT? That's what I said, my analysis.
Commissioner Lanyon answer that question given it relates to New South Wales.
I'll reiterate, that is subject to the investigation.
Of course. This will be open and transparent, but I'm not answering your questions.
A lot of work is done between ourselves and the Jewish community. Obviously, Bondi Beach is a large and public area. We regularly patrol that area as we did on that day.
Commissioner, how many police were at that festival? How many police were at the festival?
I've said previously that they received taskings to go to the Bondi Beach, so there were police moving through there.
How many? He asked.
How many were at the scene? How many were at the scene?
I can't tell you at any particular time. As I said, they received taskings.
He doesn't know.
Moving through the area.
He hasn't even asked the question.
Were there 2 officers posted there for the festival? And were those 2 officers the ones that were wounded?
I don't have that information for you at the moment, Damien. What I'll say is we had an appropriate policing response to ensure that police were moving through there, working closely with the community. We take safety very seriously.
No, you don't.
You've seen that from the New South Wales Police.
No.
We are here to support the community. We're here to keep the community safe. Had there been intelligence that there was a particular threat at that location,
There should have been a response.
we may have had a different policing response.
Well, were they the ones patrolling? Were they the ones that were in this vicinity? Or were they first responders?
Well, there was a large number of police responding there at the moment. I don't want to give information about that whilst the critical incident
Given the
investigation.
She's telling us fuck all.
Sorry, I feel it's incredibly important to me as the Premier of New South Wales to respond to some of these questions.
Resign.
The New South Wales Police acted with bravery
No, they didn't.
and integrity. They
Cowardice.
didn't take a backward step. They engaged the government.
Bullshit. We watched the videos.
With handguns. The offenders had long-range rifles, and New South Wales police officers were responsible for killing one of them and shooting the other one, and as a result, saving many, many people.
Now, the guy who stopped the shooting is the one responsible for saving lives. Stop it.
In New South Wales hospitals at the moment. They weren't shot in the back as they were running away, they were shot in the front. I'm sorry to be graphic about it, but if there's any suggestion that New South Wales police didn't live up to their responsibilities to the people of this state, it should be rejected.
Wow.
Because it's not consistent with the facts.
No, you're
New
wrong.
South Wales police officers, some of whom had been in the job for a number of months, put their lives on the line to save people.
We saw the video.
And I think this rush to conclusions.
There's no rush. We watched the
All
video.
the facts are known, in my view, is disrespectful to their actions on Sunday.
You're disrespectful to the survivors.
No, I'm sorry, but I do have a
How
responsibility.
many police were stationed there? Was
Resign.
there value of staffing?
I don't think there's any doubt that if we had our time again, of course we would do things differently. And part of our response with the Jewish community and the people of New South Wales through Operation Shelter, working closely with the CSG, who are responsible for security in the Jewish community, is to ensure that we can work with them in the future. I can't take back Sunday, nobody can. But what we can do is ensure that in the future we are putting security in place so that we rebuild trust with the Jewish community. I know that this is
Jewish community, you don't have trust with us.
For some members of the Jewish community, because this was a targeted attack on members of the Jewish community. I know in many cases, I saw Rabbi Wolf speak passionately about being more Jewish, refusing to hide.
Oh, shut
I thought
up.
that was such a brave and important message to send to the people of Australia and New South Wales. But we have to work with them and walk with them on that journey. Hang on a second, and it's an urgent priority to rebuild Jewish social life in this state.
Preview, we've just learned that a gun license. That's a G background was granted in 2023 after his son authority became aware of his son. Was it then a failure of intelligence that the New South Wales Police Firearms Registry in England grant those licences, did not know that his son, with whom he lived, was at one stage under the investigation phase?
Look, it's too early to say or make a pronouncement in relation to that. But one aspect of gun law reform that is absolutely
Gun law
essential
reform.
in New South Wales, and it will be controversial, is for police to use criminal intelligence, not just a criminal record, in determining whether someone should keep a gun licence or even be granted a gun licence in the state. And what I'm trying to say is, if we can craft a law that the police commissioner can say, I've got concerns about this person, I don't want them having access to a gun, notwithstanding the fact that they don't have a criminal record, that's the kind of legislation that we want to see.
So you just decide somebody's dangerous without any evidence.
Reportedly links to Islamic State for connections he made as a follower of jihadist preacher Wissam Hadda. Is radical Islam a problem, and how can hate preaching still be allowed?
Well, what we know
What we know.
is, as part of the investigation, is it goes to motive, and what is being investigated, as the Commissioner has said, is that it would appear that there is evidence that this was inspired by a terrorist organisation, by ISIS. Now, some of the evidence which is being procured, including the presence of Islamic State flags in the vehicle that has been seized, are a part of that. Radical perversion of Islam is absolutely a problem. It is something that has been identified globally as a problem as well.
But you support a Palestinian state led by a terrorist group, Hamas.
An evil ideology that has been called out, not just by the Australian government, but globally as well.
What are you doing right now to combat hate preaching? What are you doing right now? What are you doing right now to combat hate preaching? To crack down on hate preaching?
Yeah, we have passed legislation to outlaw hate speech. The first government to do so.
Yeah, you go after white people.
We placed those laws as part of our response to anti-Semitism.
Can you just confirm there's been a lot of misinformation flying around about the student visa that Tony Berg mentioned yesterday? Can you confirm the country of origin, whether it's India or Pakistan, and also how long were they in the Philippines, and was that monitored by Filipino intelligence agencies?
They are all part of the investigation. So I can't go into that detail, and it wouldn't be appropriate to undermine the investigation by going into
Frank, I asked a question on National Cabinet yesterday. We've just broken a story in the Australian newspaper in relation to that meeting. It says state leaders were forced to push you on solutions to anti-Semitism that you didn't offer any yourself. That a draft document that was presented to state premiers contained one paragraph about the issue of anti-Semitism, and this was later changed to add a second paragraph that included existing policies that you were already working on. Why are you not announcing a suite of anti-Semitism measures right now?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not true. The report is not accurate. The meeting yesterday had front and centre a commitment. Prime Minister today convened a meeting in National Cabinet following the evil anti-Semitic terrorist attack directed at members of the Jewish community celebrating Hanukkah at Sydney's Bondi Beach.
This is talking about the draft document that was presented to the state premiers. They have to push you on
that is not accurate. It's just
Oh, it is accurate.
In that meeting, did you specifically raise Julian Stiegel's plan to combat anti-Semitism? Your hand-picked envoy, was that referenced?
What we did was we referenced the ongoing work.
He has to read the notes.
Hate crimes and incident database.
You're the fucking Prime Minister. You have to read the notes.
That is what it is. We have taken the report.
This guy needs to resign.
Envoy, and what we are doing is busy implementing it. And we talked about that yesterday. We went through the full range of measures which we are doing. I talked about it, including the hate speech, Nazi symbols, what we're doing on doxing,
Nazi symbols.
the creation of the National Student Ombudsman, what we're doing with the education program on Together for Humanity in schools, as well as security, migration issues, and cultural issues.
I'm sure that wouldn't have
appropriate limit on gun numbers for ownership be, and when can we expect to see a national register?
Well, what we have done is to task through National Cabinet Premier Minns and Premier Cook, who's the incoming chair of the Council of Australian Federation, to work on that and come back to national.
Premier, how soon could New South Wales Parliament be recalled to legislate that? Have the coalition offered you bipartisan support for that? And also for Mr Albanese, are you disappointed about the lack of bipartisanship on the
There's a
federal?
lot of questions. So, look at
I can only tell too many lies at once.
Pre-Christmas, logistically, we're working with our MPs to get back into Parliament as soon as possible. I haven't had a detailed discussion with the Leader of the Opposition, but in fairness to her, we don't have a draft bill. What I have been able to say is that she's been incredible working with us over the last 24, 48 hours. She's the member for that community, and I can't speak highly enough of the bipartisan way she's approached this incredible tragedy. So I don't want to speak for the coalition, but I don't want to speak for the coalition, but I think we'll be in a position to do this together.
Are you considering any kind of crackdown on Albadea Data Centre, and do you believe that any sort of action on
Yeah, he's the Gavin Newsom, like.
Well, we have to do all these.
Albanese reminds me of Tim Waltz.
I mean, that's the truth. This is just a horrible, horrible crime, and I think taking one action would be nowhere near enough to combat the scale of the challenges that are in front of us. So yes, we do have to do gun reform. Sorry, folks, I know you want to get your questions out, but I think it's reasonable we get an answer out.
Prime Minister,
yes, we have to do gun control. It's incredibly important that we fight anti-Semitism, and one of the things about anti-Semitism is that it begins with hate speech, then it might be a chant at a rally, then it moves online, then it becomes graffiti on a Jewish building, then it's malicious damage, then arson, and then it escalates to the kind of horrific violence that we saw yesterday. We have to combat it across the board.
Prime Minister, there's talk that you suggesting the Royal Commission. Is there any suggestion you might call a Royal Commission on this, or invite the President or the Prime Minister of Israel to Australia?
Look, we're working through all of these issues. Our focus has been on the immediate response, the investigation.
Resign.
Our National Cabinet meeting yesterday, our National Security Committee will meet again this afternoon. We'll continue to monitor all of these issues. And to Paul's question that was...
I was going to ask if you were disappointed about a lack of bipartisanship on the federal level.
This is not a time for politics.
That's exactly what you're doing up there, politicking.
And I think that we have...
Look at the female cop. She's not even convinced of his bullshit.
A briefing from the security agencies yesterday. I think
Agencies.
the statement on Sunday night was entirely appropriate, and we stand ready to work across the Parliament. I've had a number of discussions with the Leader of the Opposition on Sunday night. On Monday, I've discussed with Allegra Spender as the local member for Wentworth as well. We particularly have had a range of discussions. But I think what Australians want is to come together. What terrorists seek to do is to create division.
No, they create fear, dumbass, not division.
Social cohesion. At that time, we're a better country than that, and we can't allow.
Well, that female cop looks pissed. Look at her.
To be successful, and that is why we must come together as a nation. I think overwhelmingly that is the feedback that I get across the board of what people want to see.
Quick, everybody run away. Everybody run away. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, folks. That's shocking to say the very least. So that's the press conference, and that's a big nothing burger. As Hillary Clinton, why is that not coming on? Oh, I got the wrong one. Okay. Sorry about that. I was closing the wrong one. Yeah, that's the big nothing burger from that. Unbelievable. Wow, that's pathetic. These people are inept, and you know that New South Wales Premier needs to resign immediately with immediate effect. I just want to say that the New South Wales police were brilliant. They were courageous. That's not the video we saw. The roster judgment against their extreme bravery. Folks, I watched a video of a man recording for 10.5 minutes from an Overwatch position where someone could have taken them out. Where were the cops? The cops are shooting at concrete bridges instead of maneuvering and firing. How is it that a civilian can tackle the gunman 7 minutes into this confrontation and the cops are nowhere to be found? The pictures we see of the cops complete. If you stand behind that, you should resign. Everybody can see for themselves what happened there. Let me just bring this up really quickly here. I'm going to bring it up towards the end here, and I'll put on mute so we don't get a freaking, copyright, or not copyright, but a, guns or whatever stuff, because you know how freaking YouTube is. Let me find this very quickly here. Here it is. Okay, I got to put some mute. Okay, I got to put that on mute. All right, so I'm going to jump ahead here. We get past the shooting. Okay. Here we go. Okay, this is where they go down. We are going to watch the next 4 minutes and 49 seconds. 4 minutes, 49 seconds. Watch the police response here. This is absolutely horrific, abysmal. This is how the police respond to this. Look at this Overwatch position. There was a man sitting here for 10.5 minutes watching this. 10.5 minutes watching this. And the cops are supposed to be praised for this inept response. Whoops, that's not what I want. Sorry. This inept response. Okay, I'm going to put myself over here on the side. Okay, well, a little further over there. So there we go. Watch this. Watch this ineptitude that takes place here. This is unbelievable. Okay, I've put it on mute. Now, the one guy's wounded. And where are the cops? I started as soon as he went down, so it's about 5 or 10 seconds. No cops have maneuvered into this space. Look at all the space they could have driven. The road is open. They could have moved down here. No armored vehicles, no special weapons and tactics, SWAT teams, nothing. Still no cops approaching. But there are civilians approaching. Watch this. Just a matter of moments, civilians come up here. Because the guy's still alive. I don't know what he was looking for a drone or something here, this guy. Someone put a drone up in there. I got drone footage. Look at the civilians running underneath. Coming up to the scene. No cops still. Look, but the cops are brave. Yes, their action was appropriate. No, it wasn't. They shot into a concrete wall rather than maneuvering into a space where they could take these guys out. See the guy down below in the black shirt on the left-hand side? And underneath that bridge are a bunch of people who are hiding. That guy's going to come up on there, and they shoot at him. Here, look, civilians come up. There's no control of the scene whatsoever. Civilians just wandering into the scene. This is inept. This is Keystone Cops. Look at this. And that guy goes up, and then they shoot at him. There's another. So the cops are shooting right now. Look at that guy putting his arms up. The cops shoot him. He'll duck. See, he ducked. The cops are shooting him. He has no firearm, and his hands are raised. What the hell? Now, look, finally, a female cop comes up, and she waves the guy away. Look. And he goes to surrender. And the civilians come up the other side. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 civilians. Look at they're kicking the guy on the ground. No control. 3 police officers already have no control of the scene. Look at this. They're attacking the assailants. And I understand, but look, here comes a female cop coming up the steps, up the other side. Look at all those people on the bridge. None of them should be on the bridge. What they're doing now is they're subduing a person who intervened to stop the shooting. Look at this. And these people were attacking a guy who had nothing to do with this whatsoever. Risked his life. Look at him coming up the stairs. More running up the stairs. No cops, no security on this side of the bridge. None on the stairs. This is total ineptitude. Here comes a female down, and she pulls it. She's going to pull her gun and shoot the guy. He's saying, hey, look, dumbass, there's a rifle over here on the ground. There's a rifle on the ground, you stupid fucks. Look at that. She goes and secures the rifle. Ran right past the rifle. Look at these people walking around the scene. No control. They're still scrummaging up there. Unbelievable. And they've got the guy who didn't do anything. This is, look at these people wandering around the scene. No control. You're proud of this, police? You're proud of this. Where are the cops? Where the hell are the cops at? Now, they finally try to get control. But they have no control up there. There's still civilians on the bridge. Look at that guy in a white shirt. Another guy in a white shirt. And some civilian wearing a blue shirt. Is he a cop? I can't tell. Unbelievable. It's ridiculous. This is insanity. The Brown University response is just as bad. Look at it, people wandering up here. By the way, there's a rifle laying on the ground down there, which they picked up. Anybody could pick it up and started shooting other people. Now, here's a cop running down. What is this cop doing? These cops aren't even talking to each other. Now, he runs back up there. What are you doing? Look, this guy walks in, they go right up behind him. No control whatsoever. Looky-loos trying to take pictures and stuff now. This is insanity. And you're proud. Look, there's people driving through. The cops still haven't secured the scene. Finally, a cop shows up. Finally, a police car shows up. Look at this. This guy's trying to get up. He gets up. Look at that little useless woman. She tries to kick him. She can't stop him because she's useless. Now these two walk up. There are no cops on the scene. What are they doing in the vehicle still? Now they finally getting out of the vehicle. What the hell are they doing? People walking up on the scene. This crime scene is completely contaminated. Unbelievable. Look at this. More civilians running up. It's total fucking chaos. And they're proud of the New South Wales. There ought to be heads rolling. These morons have no idea how to respond to this event whatsoever. None. This is beyond comprehension. Look at this. More people walking on the bridge. It's just shocking how stupid they are. Now they show up. Look at this. More female cops. Fucking worthless situation here. Look at this. People still coming up on the bridge. No security. They have that cordoned off the perimeter still. These cops don't know if these people are a threat or not. They're lucky there weren't more terrorists there. Look at these Sheilas trying to manhandle people twice their size and it's failing. Okay, that was 4.5 minutes of idiocy and chaos after the shooting stopped. I mean, can it be any more screwed up than that? That is the most damning video. I have the other stuff. I just only started seeing this. Saw something in Byron Shepherd. By the way, you should go watch Byron Shepherd's video on his channel. Go to the Byron Shepherd channel. His video, this is a breakdown. He spent hours preparing it. It's brilliant. Oh, my goodness. Well, Del Marie, you say that, but some of those civilians might actually have experience, might be former law enforcement, former military. The point is that only one person stood up and did the right thing, and he may lose his arm as a consequence of that. Yeah. The guy who kicked the terrorist while he was down will be charged with hate crime. Well, the problem I have is that, I mean, I appreciate the Good Samaritan, but I don't know how he got shot. I saw the video. I don't know how he got shot. He wrestled the weapon away. It was almost a classic takedown. It was brilliant. He waited for his moment, charged from behind, unless he was being shot from behind while it was ongoing by the guy up on the bridge. I don't know. So I don't know how he got shot. But I mean, then he grabbed the rifle from the guy and let the guy walk away. I mean, I would have put him down. You've been justified putting him down. The man is a clear and present threat. There are rifles all over the place. And he went back and he just started picking up a gun and shooting more people. Yes. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, folks. This is a disgraceful. I mean, we're going to be transparent. They sound just like the ANC. We're going to be transparent. Let everybody know what's going on. You are being transparent. What a crock. What an absolute crock, folks. What an absolute crock. I mean, this is insanity, to say the least. These people have their heads so far up their rectum, it's unbelievable. Every one of them should resign. From Albanese, their answer is gun control. When guns would have stopped this, when armed citizens who were trained to respect a firearm for the weapon that it is, had they been armed, somebody had a gun in their car, somebody had a gun on their person, this would have ended. This would have ended. Unbelievable. That's what I'm saying from the bridge, Stella. But he was standing there. He should have got behind the tree. I mean, but I'm not going to criticize the guy. That's what I said. The guy from the bridge must have hit him. Hit him 5 times, too. It's amazing he's alive. Rudolph Skepper said that we are sitting ducks. South African gun laws are purposely disarming us whilst the criminals buy surrendered guns from the police. Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, they went to police academy. That's what this is. Unbelievable. It is shocking. You just watched it there. Tell me what I'm wrong about. I'm listening. I will listen. I'm not going to criticize you. If you think that I'm wrong in my analysis about the Keystone Coppery of the New South Wales Police and their pathetic response, we are working with the Jewish community. This is a massive event at Hanukkah. Thousands of people there. Thousands of Jews. And you didn't have a perimeter? You didn't have undercover police officers there? You didn't have drones there? Are you serious? This wasn't, an event in somebody's backyard barbecue. It wasn't a braai in Perth. This was an event with thousands of Jews assembled on Hanukkah. It was well announced. Everyone knew about it. And you care about the Jews, but you recognize the Palestinian terrorist state. Yeah, ISIS isn't worried about Australia striking back. If that happened here, Trump would be nailing them in Syria. There'd be bombs dropped on overnight. Yes, Del Marie, you're correct. You're right. Those people had no business going up bridge. I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that. You're misunderstanding. My point is that the only reason this situation ended was because of civilians, not because of the cops, because of civilians. I mean, unbelievable. This no presence, no reaction. And again, how could this guy sit there and film it for 10.5 minutes in an Overwatch position? That is the position the cops need to be in. I don't know where that was from. But the cops need to be ingressing from the side where those cars were parked so that a clear line of sight. But instead, they're shooting through concrete. And by the way, those bullets are bouncing off, and who knows how many of those bullets are hitting people. Or they're also overshooting and hitting people on the other side. Who knows how many people were wounded by the cops? Right? It's just unbelievably inept. And Brown University, same thing. It's the most closed-circuit television camera campus in Rhode Island. There are cameras everywhere. Hundreds of cameras. Not one video footage. Not one. Days after the event, the president of the university can't even tell us who was in the classroom. They have a roster of students. I realize it was a study session or an exam, but guess what? You have a baseline. We know that there were supposed to be 42 students there. We've accounted for 36 of them. Here's the worst part. Brown University, when that room was cleared, none of those people were checked. None of them were checked for weapons. None of them were checked. They don't even know who they are. They're now asking. They're doing a public appeal. Were you in the classroom? Please come forward and tell us your story. What? How do you let them leave without knowing who they are, interrogating them, without putting zip ties on them? Every one of those people in that room should have been zip tied until they were interrogated to find out if they were part of this. This is insanity. I agree with you, Rain. I doubt it was 5 times. That's why the whole thing about 5 times is a little bit surprising. And it was bolt action. You have automatic assault rifles. No, it was bolt action, single shot rifle. You saw the damage, though, that a person that's trained can do with a bolt, single action rifle. Unbelievable. Wake the hell up. You must make a choice as a militant Islamist by nature of the religion. They force fellow Muslims to pick a side. Guess whose side they'll pick? Says Bookie. These DI Sydney cops remind me of the DI California Fire Department. Seems like standards have been lowered. Yeah, those female cops couldn't stop anybody. People just ran right past them. And then the cops turn here and then they run right that way. No perimeter, no security perimeter. I mean, this has to be the easiest fucking thing to secure. It's easy. There's 3 ingress points. They're all up. You have to go up steps. You have to go up to get to them. The cops simply put 2 people on each of those spots and they can stop people get up there. But no, unbelievable. Yes, Blue Cup, that's what they said during the press conference. That's their answer. They stand with the Jews. No, they don't. You stand with the terrorist. You do, Albanese. And so does that Gavin Newsom-looking New South Wales prick. Unbelievable. They all need to resign. You know, I was initially angry at the female cop, but I was watching her body language. She's not happy. She is not happy. I could see that she is not going along with this bullshit. But of course she has to. Unbelievable. Yes, they want to tighten gun laws. That isn't the answer. The answer is to loosen gun laws and allow law-abiding citizens to have firearms. This would have been stopped because the cops don't have a pair of balls. The cops are cowering behind vehicles. We've seen the video. We've seen the photographs of cops hiding. They weren't taking cover from shots. They were hiding. Cops who weren't even in a line of fire, paralyzed by fear, afraid to step forward. Yet citizens running all over the place, getting involved. A man tackling the assailant. Why wasn't that a cop doing that? Yes, the Jewish community failed their own people. I agree with you, Del Marie. How the hell did they think they were safe in this event? How the hell? I know Jews who went to shul, who went to synagogue with rifles today. With rifles. And with pistols. They went to religious ceremonies commemorating Hanukkah today. Yep. This is insanity. You're right, Light Rain. This was the dressing down they would get before I would fire them. You stand up there and have the audacity to tell people you're proud of the police response? Nobody's buying that. Nobody's buying that. We saw cop after cop cowering, not returning fire, not drawing a service weapon, hiding, like civilians were hiding, who should have been hiding. No SWAT teams, no armored vehicles, nothing. 10 minutes of shooting, nobody shows up. Cops shooting into concrete walls on a bridge instead of maneuvering. You shoot, move, and communicate. You don't sit there and just shoot back. It's like, what is this? Is this Liberia during the Civil War? General Buck Naked out there? What the hell kind of nonsense is this? These people are a disgrace to law enforcement. And you know what? If that hurts your feelings, too bad. Too bad. Unbelievable. There may have been a few courageous police officers out there, but we didn't see them. We didn't see them. They didn't appear in this video of 10 and a half minutes. They're not there. In this video, we see Keystone Cops. And there's other videos that show these people. Horrific carnage. Horrific carnage. Unbelievable. AFP, Australian Federal Police too. Kind of different harassing COVID Facebook posters. Exactly. Art. A hell of a lot easier to use the police to beat lawful protesters during COVID in Melbourne. Remember that? I covered that live. These scumbags. Australians, you need to wake up. You need to wake up. Well, Denise, I'm with you. It should have always been the case. That's why Israeli soldiers are required to have their firearm and their rifle with them at all times. On vacation, on break, on pass, out for dinner in the evening, always required to have their firearm. Yep. You're right, Light Rain. This is addressing now they need a more serious dressing. These people in Albany should resign. So he looks like Tim Walz and the other guy looks like Gavin Newsom. They should just resign now. You're right. It's a land of the sheep led by sheep. Yep. And your right to defend yourself taken away and their government is shocked that criminals use guns. Exactly. Oh, now's the time for us to be united. United. People trying to divide Australia. We'll come together, multicultural Australia. No, you moron. People will die. This is just the start. Brown University, this is a globalization intifada. By the way, programming announcement tomorrow, folks, for the 118 people currently here. Tomorrow, Byron Shepard and I will be discussing the globalization intifada, talking about Bondi Beach and also attacks around the world. They're united in being asses is what they're united in. Response USA insanely fast. Had a fire alarm the other day and the fire department was here in minutes. Yep. All these British-controlled and ex-British governments that think removing legal guns is going to solve the problem, but the police can't protect their citizens. It is a land where men are men and the sheep are nervous. Yeah, that's for sure. Unbelievable. Alrighty, folks, I'm going to take a brief break here. You're going to be redirected to my Night Owls, which will start in about 9 minutes, okay? Demolition Man, the police became so passive and weak, they failed spectacularly. Exactly right, Light Rain. Yeah, prevent terrorists taking aim. Exactly. Hey, Keith, how's it going? All right, so for folks from South Africa, from Australia, New Zealand, from UK, from US watching right now, I'll be right back with the Night Owls. That'll be just after a brief break. You'll be directed there automatically. Thank you for joining this evening. And my apologies. I'm embarrassed by watching these morons who are supposed to be leaders in politics, and their solution is more gun control. No, the solution is police that are trained in policing. How is it that they didn't rehearse this sort of thing? How is it they weren't prepared for this? And I'd say the same thing in Harrisburg, in Philadelphia, in Pittsburgh, in New York, in D.C., Atlanta, Chicago, L.A., Seattle, Denver. You all should be rehearsed in this. Obama sold you guys military hardware. You bought freaking armored personnel carriers. Why the hell aren't you ready for this? You better be, because more of it's coming. Chris Kindlemark, nativity scenes, caroling, church services. It's Christmas season. They're coming for us. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. My goodness. Shaking my head. SMH. Shaking my head. See you shortly.